Hi, this is Chris Cook from 3M Commercial Graphics. Today we're going to continue on from our previous video where we were talking about how you can use your heat gun to actually make the application easier on the vehicle. First thing we're going to cover is, as you're working the film, you'll often find that you have small sort of ripples or wrinkles starting to form in the film. We can see that around this door handle here, as we work the film, you can start to see these small wrinkles appear. If we continue to work the film, they'll get larger and larger, and eventually we'll end up forming a crease. What we can do though, while those wrinkles are still quite small, hit them with a little bit of heat, you'll find that they'll actually completely disappear from the film. So just a little bit of gentle heat around where those small ripples are, or wrinkles are, and they'll shrink right out of the film. So when you are dealing with film like that, I find it's easy to kind of do a little bit of squeegeeing work, and as you find those small ripples start to appear, use a little bit of heat to get rid of them. Deal with them while they're still small, and you find that they will go away entirely. If you let them get too big, then they won't shrink out, then you've got to deal with them separately, and you do run the risk of getting a wrinkle into the film. So, a little bit of work with the squeegee, and as you find those little wrinkles start to appear, a little bit of heat, just shrink them straight out of the film. And you can see that they disappear entirely and end up with a nice, smooth, clean edge to our graphic as we're working it. Okay, second thing we're going to talk about is, as you are working the film, particularly as you tend to pop it back off the surface in case you need to reposition it, you'll often find that you get kind of stretch marks appearing in the graphic. You can see this part here, we've had to actually lift the film back off the surface, and as a result, you can kind of actually see a few finger marks in there, and it looks kind of ugly. But again, if we use our heat gun, we can actually erase all of that. All we need to do is hold the film just with a slight bit of tension, just to actually keep it off the surface. Don't pull on it hard, otherwise we'll end up stretching it when we heat it. But again, just some gentle heat. And what we should find is that all of those finger marks and all of that sort of stretch that we put into the film as we were working it disappear. Now, if there are any little creases, that have gotten into the film, where the film's actually folded up on itself, if you wait till it cools down a little, pop that crease out, and go back with a little bit of heat. We can get rid of those entirely. So again, deal with those things while they're smaller, because once they get too big, you may find this doesn't work, but it can be very, very effective at removing all of those sort of ugly looking stretch marks that you put into the graphic as you're applying it. Okay, so our next example, we're going to talk about how we're going to work the film around this kind of tight curve right at the end of the rear guard here. You'll often see people, as they're working the film around this, they'll work the film down this flat, easy area first, then when they get to this last curve section, then they'll put some heat in and wrap it around that last little bit. The problem with doing that is that all of the stretch you're putting into the film is right on that edge where the guard meets the tailgate. And the film's much more likely to want to pull back from that edge. So a better approach to this is to actually start heating and working the film from about here, so that you're heating a large area of film. Because the larger the area of film that you're heating, the lower the percentage of stretch that you're applying to it to work it around that curve. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually pop this film back off the surface to about here. We're going to heat this large area and actually work it then around that curve. Okay, so we're getting ready to work the film around that corner. So you can see that we're actually heating quite a large area, and we're starting well back from the corner, so that when we do stretch it, we're going to be stretching a large piece of film rather than just that small piece right on the edge. Again, reducing the percentage stretch. So we're going to get the film nice and warm, then we're going to take the heat away. Now we're going to work it down around that corner, adjusting the tension as we go to get it laying flat around that curve. Okay, and you can see that we've worked it right around to that edge. Okay, so we've worked the film around the corner here. One last tip, one thing that we can do to again make that edge as stable as we possibly can, is if we actually just pop the film back from that edge there a little bit, and actually just give it a little bit of heat, because we've stretched the film basically right up to the edge. If we give it a little bit of heat now, we can actually let it relax back and take some of that stretch out of it right on that edge. So that when we do lay it down, we've got absolute minimal stretch on that edge of the graphic. So that's going to give us by far the most secure edge because we've minimised the stretch at that weakest point where that edge is of the panel. Okay, so once we've used that bit of heat to relax the film a little, then we can squeeze it down to the edge. And we've given that edge the best chance of staying where it is because along that last 10 or 15 millimetres we've used the heat to relax it, reduce the percentage of stretch, so it's going to be more secure. So there are 3 more tips on how you can use your heat gun to make your application life a little bit easier. So thank you very much for watching, and once again, if there are any comments or questions, please post them in the comment section. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.